So, sometimes things don't go the way you want to in life. And you have to alter your plan. It's not fun. It's not what we want. It's not what we look for. But it's okay. Sometimes a realignment is what's necessary. This is Julian McBain, and this is my 13th Saturday vlog. So, it's happened to me, it's happened to my lady. It's happened to other people I know and respect recently, where things aren't going the way that were planned. And so plans had to change. Things may not be as easy as we thought they were going to be, or maybe they didn't turn out the way they were supposed to, even though we did everything right. In Star Trek, Captain Picard once tells Data, you can do everything right and still lose. That's not a failure. That's life. And sometimes we're not ready or don't have the time or don't have the ability to put forth what we originally intended to. And that's okay too. What matters is we get up the next morning and we're ready to tackle things. Sometimes you got to take a step back and let the day go. But the next day you got to be ready to hit it with the hammer again. Accept the realignment. Alter your course. Come up with a new plan. It's like, I didn't expect to be where I am in my career today. 3 years ago, I thought I would be in a totally different state, doing a fairly different thing, and making a significantly larger amount than I do now. Life changed. Plans had to change. And that's okay. I realigned. It doesn't mean you give up on the dream. It means you remap how you get to it. And by dream, I don't mean some amorphous end result that you might get if you work really hard for 100 years. I'm talking about what is my goal? What is your goal? You come up with a goal and you work toward it for years. And maybe something happens to where you have to take a step back. That doesn't mean you give up on the goal. It means you realign. You take a break maybe. 2 steps back and a step to the left, and maybe you can get through the barrier that's in front of you. Maybe it takes 3 steps to the left. Maybe after taking that first extra step forward, you got to move 3 steps back to the right. What matters is you never stop walking toward that goal. And I'll be the first to admit, me saying all of this is as much me trying to remind myself of it, of trying to as it is trying to reassure you. Because I've set a rather ambitious goal for myself after having to realign a large chunk of my life. And that's okay. And I'm going to share that goal with you so you can hold me accountable. About 9 months ago, am I Scottish now? About 9 months ago, I embarked on a journey. And that journey was to start being a YouTuber. In that time, I'm going to look up the statistics so they're accurate. In that time, I have gained 50 subscribers. I have had 22,700 watch time minutes. I've had 3,100 views. And you know what I say to that? It's a good start. It's a very good start, but that's all it is a start. I've started my website, and I'm starting to put my literary works up. And I'm redoing some literary works that never got finished. Make sure you check it out at mcbainmanor.com. I'll make sure there's a link to it in the description, as there has been lately. I'm building a brand. And what does this have to do with motivation? So, building a brand is my goal. I am building the brand of McBain. That's my goal. What are your goals? Write them down. Write them down, because if you write them down, it changes the way you think about them, rather than just having them in your head. And make sure they're specific. Make sure some of them are achievable. My goal, this is posted on my wall, is to have 150 subscribers by the end of my first year. That's 3 months away. So if you aren't subscribed to me, please hit that subscribe button. I think it's doable. Oh wait, did I write it for this year? No, I think it was by the end of the... I apologize, I just looked at the sheet again. It was 150 subscribers by the end of 2019. But I think we can do better than that. My total subscriber count is 64 as of today. Thank you to the 3 people who subscribed to me today. And it is currently, I'm recording this on the 6th of March. It'll come out this Saturday. Let's see if we can make it 100 by the end of June. That's my goal. 100 subscribers by the end of June. I'm building a brand. Why am I doing it? Do I need a reason? Because I want to. I want to provide something for you. Entertainment through Entropia, other video games, these vlogs, the blog I have on my website, along with the short stories and the novel. Second one that's in the works, again, still some more. All of this is built one step at a time. Not all of this is built overnight. You know, I've gone and I've been watching. I watch a lot of Dan Lok recently. Of course, I've watched a whole bunch of Jordan Peterson. I watch Serial Overdrive every time he puts out a video. I watch most of Lurspade's videos. He actually is doing a lot of good stuff on Fallout 76. You should check out his channel. I don't watch as much of the other YouTubers as I used to. I wish I had the time to. I do. I make sure to make time for myself to be able to watch 1 or 2 videos from 1 or 2 YouTubers a day that aren't, you know, business motivation or some sort of a way to train myself. More entertainment value, watching video games, which is what I enjoy watching. Which is ironic, really, because I remember when you were a kid, the most boring thing you could do was watch other people play video games, and now it's a whole industry. You know, people build their lives on playing video games. It's friggin' awesome. I never as a kid thought that someone could make their living playing a video game. Now I'm seeing hundreds of people do it. But ultimately what the goal is to build a brand and provide something that you're looking for. And if there's something you want from me that I'm not providing or that you think I should provide more of, drop a comment down below and let me know. Because I'm in this to provide content for you. Things that you enjoy watching and listening. And I'm going to take a piece of advice from Dan Lok. And it's funny because Dan Lok and Jordan Peterson in a lot of ways are very similar. They're there to help you build yourself up. They're there to help you succeed. Dan Lok is far more brusque and abrupt with it. than Jordan Peterson, but Jordan Peterson's a clinical psychologist, and Dan Lok is a businessman. So they're looking at it from two totally different perspectives. And they're also talking to two, I think, somewhat dynamically different demographics. Jordan Peterson, his primary target audience, I think, are people who are struggling just to maintain the basic mental state of their life. Right? Sometimes maintaining that basic mental state is not easy. Sometimes you have to remind yourself to make your bed, to clean your room, to eat 3 meals a day. To remind you that self-care is okay and important. That it's okay to vent your emotions when you need to in an appropriate space. This is why you need to have someone you can talk to. And it doesn't have to be a significant other. It can be a friend. And that's something that I think that, and frankly, as a guy, I see it from a personal perspective. Men tend to rely very heavily on their significant other to be the pillar that they lean upon. And I know there are some women out there that do it too, but largely it's men. And so, and it's becoming a lot less in the millennial generation and Gen Z as we try to go back to much older modes of thinking. Everyone seems to think that a lot of this, men can have emotions thing is new age and stuff, but back during the classical era, so you're talking when the Roman Empire was around, just before the Middle Ages, and even through the Renaissance, the Middle Ages were like this. I mean, you see it in Shakespeare. The super macho horse shit didn't become an issue until about the 1950s. I mean, let's be real here. We need to know that we can lean on people other than our significant other. Talk to a friend. Talk to someone that you can trust. And if nothing else, or if you need it, talk to a therapist. There's no shame in having a therapist. Absolutely none. And if someone tries to shame you for having a therapist, shame on them. Am I being attacked? Okay. We can't bottle everything up inside of ourselves. Sometimes we fail, and the best way to deal with failure is to talk about it. I've failed hundreds of times. Sometimes every day feels like a failure. The important part is that you never give up. You get up the next morning, you eat a solid breakfast, and you hit the day again. And if there comes a time when you say, look, this isn't working out, you find a way to realign. That doesn't mean you just give up what you're doing and try to immediately jump into something else. You take a step back. You maintain what you have to in order to make sure you're still eating. You still have a roof over your head. The lights are still on. But you take a step back and you say, okay, is this working? And if not, why? Is this something about me? Is it something about the situation? Why isn't this working? And if you decide the situation is not something you can maintain, you find something different. If it's you figure out what part of you is causing the problem and you change it. And you know what? It's not going to change overnight. 28 days makes a habit. 21 days. 21 days makes a habit. But even then, a newly formed habit can easily be broken by old habits. So you lay out a plan to change the things in yourself you need to change so you can change your situation. And, you're probably going to fail, but that's okay. That's what happens. And maybe you fail 9 times out of 10. Doesn't matter. That one success, as long as you keep working toward that one success, is all you need out of 10. Because that 10%, as you keep working at it, turns into 11. And then it's 12. Soon it's 15 and 20. And of course, every time you succeed, it builds you up. Peterson likes to use lobsters because when lobsters win, they get bigger, right? You become a big lobster. So you succeed and you have your big lobster moment, but you don't give up and you don't just ride that laurel forever. This is not a poke at members of the Order of the Laurel in the SCA. You don't just ride on that laurel forever. You keep working at it. And pretty soon you're at 20% and then 30%. Eventually you're at 90 to 100%. And you've honed that habit and that skill. And you're doing other things too. You don't just do one at a time. But sometimes you have to work at one at a time. And there's nothing wrong with that. If it's something as simple as I wake up in the morning and I can't even pull myself together for work before it's almost too late. Okay, well, how do you fix that? You set your alarm a half hour earlier. Instead of maybe sitting down in front of the television, you read a book. Or actually, in my case, it would be exactly the opposite, because if I open a book, I'm screwed. Maybe you watch something motivational on YouTube. There's hundreds of motivational videos on YouTube. You go out there and you do the thing. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable because you're not used to doing it. And there may be things you never get comfortable doing, but as long as you are able to do it, that's the important part. That's courage. You know, for some people, courage is jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. For other people, courage is getting out of bed. Because maybe they suffer from a major mental disorder like clinical depression. I'm not sure if that's medically considered a major mental disorder, but it can be debilitating. Depression can be debilitating. So maybe it's just the courage to get out of bed on Monday. And then on Tuesday, it's to get out of bed and make sure you actually eat something. Maybe on Wednesday, you manage to stick a foot out the door. Maybe on Thursday, you take a step back and you're not able to get out the door, but you're still eating. And maybe you're beyond that point. It's you're looking back at that and you remember those times, or maybe you never had those times, but you're having trouble at work because you're not quite making the sales you're supposed to meet, or maybe your productivity is just a little low. Maybe you're afraid to work on a component on a machine because you're afraid you're going to break it. So you go in and you test the waters and you make that one extra phone call. Because you hate cold calling it. For the record, I hate cold calling. I do it, but I hate it. You make that one extra cold call. Or, you try, you push just a little bit harder to pump out that one extra pair of socks off the sock making machine. It really, the important part is that you continue to strive to do better. You aspire. Because aspiration is really what drives humanity. It really is. That's how we achieve. We aspire. That's why we're human. That's what sets us apart from our cousins, the two chimpanzee species. Although I'd argue that chimpanzees should be in the same genus as us, making them human. I'm not, scientists know what they're talking about. I trust them to do so. And I understand the socio-political problems with putting them in the same genus. Talk about a sidetrack. The fact is, we aspire to be more than we are. We aspire to become. And if we're not aspiring, then we're just surviving. What life is there in just survival? There is none. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have bad days. Bad days happen. They happen all the time. And they're not good. But there's something we have to contend with. And how you deal with those bad days is really a better measure of who you are than how you deal with the good days. Because it's our bad days that really define us. They show us what kind of tenacity we have. We're all on a journey. The journey is called life. For each of us, that journey is going to look different. The result's going to be different. The aim is going to be different. The goal is going to be different. Some of us aren't going to be able to achieve much because we have too many things in the way. But the fact of the matter is, you still try. And by too many things in the way, I'm more speaking, physical limitations. It's incredibly difficult for someone with no limbs to be able to walk. But it doesn't mean they can't achieve. And maybe for a person, being able to hold down a job is a major achievement. And you know what? There's no shame in that, because they're trying. They're truly trying. And in the end, that's what you need to do too. Just like I am. And you know what? Sometimes we fail. Maybe this brand won't go anywhere. Maybe this YouTube channel won't go anywhere. I think it will. Frankly, I'm aiming for being an affiliate within the next 2 years. Will it happen? I don't know yet. We're going to find out. All of you and me together, we're going to find out where this goes. And I look forward to seeing the result. Succeed or fail, I don't care. Well, I do care, but it doesn't matter if I fail. What matters is I don't give up. And the same goes for you. That's all I got, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you check out my website at www.mcbainmanor.com and help me build this brand just by supporting it and looking at things. You're all amazing. I really appreciate it. Good night.